Story Wale is here with your story staple of short stories, book reviews, and much more. Visit our website to know us better, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the bell icon for regular updates.
Murakami is like a wizard who waves his unsuspecting twig-like wand and manifests a world that you can see, feel, and even almost touch. Hola amigos, I am Prajakta, this is Story Wale Reviews, and today we are going to be reviewing Haruki Murakami's Kafka on the Shore. After having heard tons and tons of praises about this particular author, I had to finally pick one of his works up. Yes, this was my first Murakami book, and before you judge me, I always avoided picking it up because I thought it would be too complex and it would be too hard to understand and things like that. So was it complex then? Let's find out. So in today's review, we'll look at the plot, the characters, and our Story Wale verdict, so you can decide whether you want to read it or not. So the original version is in Japanese and it came out in 2002, and the English version, which came out in 2005, was translated by Philip Gabriel and published by Random House UK. The reason I call him a wizard is because he weaves a positively brutal existential reality with such a seamless style. So Kafka on the Shore is a story of the 15-year-old boy called Kafka Tamura as he takes on the biggest adventure of his life, running away from home and also his apparently acrimonious father. Through this journey of his, he crosses paths with several strangers who end up being intricately woven into his story without even meeting them sometimes. This book smacks you in the face with premises that challenge your ideas of right and wrong. And yet, it is far from the territory of morality. It does not take much time for the reader to realize that the author is not at all interested in the daily happenings of the mundane life. He would rather dwell in the kingdom of the spiritual and the symbolic. As a result, you come across various conversations which are steeped in symbology of art, music, and life as a whole. A short while after Kafka leaves his home, his father is found murdered and an investigation is underway. Afraid that he himself might be accused for this crime, Kafka goes further into hiding. Parallelly, we are also introduced to this simple-minded man called Nakata as he goes about his simple life, talking to cats and whatnot. As Kafka is looking for a roof over his head, he comes across this library that is run by Miss Seiki, an older woman who Kafka finds himself tremendously drawn to. All of their lives are soon to be intersected by a twist of fate that none of them could have seen coming. At the end of the book, it left me wanting more. More of clarity, more of closure, even more of attachment towards the protagonist Kafka. But then again, I don't think the author means for you to take that journey, especially because Kafka feels so disconnected within himself. Also, as engaging as these philosophical existential conversations are, they also make it a tad difficult for the reader to relate to all that is happening. As far as characters go, Murakami builds these people right in front of you in flesh and bone. Nakata is an absolute delight. For me, his simplicity, his simple logic, his simple understanding, his simple needs, it all brought about a profound panic within myself regarding my own existence and purpose. On the other end of the spectrum lies Miss Seiki, who is a character which is beyond the reach of understanding of normal beings like us. She is spiritual and intellectual and lives in another world completely. While reading, I felt as if these characters kept you engaged as well as detached from the narrative as a whole. The character that I found extremely interesting was Hoshino, who accompanies Nakata on his journey. Hoshino, I felt, was the only one who had any connection with trivialities called life as we know it. And that is what makes him extremely endearing, even with all his flaws included. The small, seemingly insignificant traits that Murakami tags onto each of these characters is actually what makes these characters very relatable and very real. For example, a tremendously simple act like rubbing his hair when he's upset makes Nakata look like someone who is sitting right next to me, and I actually want to comfort him. Kafka in the Shore is a story that moves across multiple dimensions. So while reading this one, it is essential that you give up the expectation that everything will make perfect sense. Once I gave up that expectation, I was actually better able to enjoy what I was reading and the smaller things in the story rather than thinking about the bigger meaning and message of the entire novel. Of course, the elaborated conversations surrounding philosophy may seem a little out of reach. I cannot say that I understood all of it in my first attempt, but I still kept going back for more. Let's see what our readometer says. Kafka on the Shore does not disappoint. So that was the review. Hope you liked it. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let us know in the comments if there are any other books that you would like us to review and also how you find these reviews. For more fun and meaningful content, go and check out our website. It's given in the description below. Until we meet next, happy reading, stay safe. Hasta la vista.